Hello everybody, it's Thursday. We're almost at the end of the week with Danny Suede. It's part 4 of an amazing transformative series with Danny. We're unlocking the secrets of sustainable mental health today though. Danny introduces his revolutionary framework, the 4 pillars of mental health. I think it's brilliant. And this is just to be, baseline. No, I'm not. I'm happy, I'm good. It's not even happy, just baseline way of not optimal. I keep going above, but no, it's level, homeostasis. The 4 pillars that shows touches on purpose, mental habits, diet, exercise, and sleep work together to create lasting well-being. This episode is packed with actionable insights that could revolutionize your approach to mental fitness. I like the word fitness and not health, because our mental fitness does go up and down, doesn't it? Absolutely. Anyway, hit that notification bell to ensure you don't miss this and others game-changing conversations here on Leading Our Own Way. Here's Danny.
Glad I wasn't significantly injured. Glad I didn't die, right? So even bad things that happen, you can get in a habit of finding these silver linings and looking at the positive thing at every bad thing. And then your life it multiplies and your life just becomes a lot better when you get in a habit of looking at things that way.
Agreed. Yeah. So what got you to the point of getting into this deep routine? And you've not had this routine your whole life. I pretty much can guarantee that, unless I'm really wrong. What made you come to this point going, right, well, I know it would have slowly built over time and you're now dialed, like you said, but you didn't just wake up and go, right, I'm doing this. How did you get to this point?
I think I've always, going back to the anxiety thing, I've always really wanted control. Like, I want to know what to expect. I want to have control over things, etc. And so I think I've just, through iteration, figured out that if there's things I want to do every day, and if I want to make progress, it happens through daily, doing things daily and being in a habit. And so there's little bits and pieces along the way where it's just trial and error of who do I want to be? How do I want my life to be? And how do I get it to be that way? And so I think just through trying things, I've just kind of zoomed in on it. I know reading Atomic Habits and just kind of getting that perspective on building habits and that kind of thing routine-wise moved the needle a lot. But I've kind of always been a creature of habit and liked routine and expectation and being able to know what to expect. And I know what I'm going to do in the morning. And, I feel like, too, I want to have a good day, right? And I've found that that's how I have a good day is when I do those things. It increases my chances, so just a lot of experimenting, I would say.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, it's great. So, okay, then with your music then, what was the first memory of music for you? Or an artist?
I mean, my grandparents and my parents, all super musical. So I think we were, even in like church and stuff when I was little, like we were in like the cherub choir with the kids singing and like in preschool doing the musicals and stuff. So I feel like it's just, music has been around me. My family was just musical. So it's just been around all the time, right? And I was in piano lessons when I was little, etc. So I have one memory of, like, piano lessons was kind of like a chore for me. I was like, whatever. But then one time I had to learn one of the songs I had to learn. I finally learned it. And I was like, oh, I like playing this. Like, I like this song. Like, this is fun. I have a memory of that, but it didn't really get into anything. But then there was a time when my brother, my older brother, who was really into guitar, he started a band. And the drummer left his drum set at our house for practice. And I was just sitting behind the drum set one day, just chilling, because that was the only seat in the studio. And then I just took the sticks and kind of did a little boom pop, and I was like, oh. And I was like, boom, dude, I was obsessed. And I didn't look back for years, bro. I was just playing the freaking drums every day. And I did online school too for a lot of that time, and eventually dropped out. But I would just play all day, man. And I just was obsessed. I just loved it. So I just played the drums like crazy. And then I played the drums at my church. And I was lucky enough that my church band was like really good. Like all the musicians, I was like a kid basically, but I practiced a lot. I learned from the drummers there, and the musicians were so good. So I just got really good and got a lot of good experience. And the worship pastor, one time he would mentor me sometimes. So we would just hang out like once a week and play drums and just kick it. And one time we were sitting in his office and I was like, man, I'm so jealous you can play the piano so good. And he's like, it's really easy. He's like, look at this. And he just showed me, like, gave me a basic theory lesson in like 10 minutes. Just, this is how chords work. Just, you know, because I knew like the notes. And he's like, this is how you build chords and da da da. And then I just took that home with the piano and just started singing and playing and ran with it. And I've just been singing and writing songs and doing that ever since then. So that was kind of the journey there. Yeah.
So being in the studio with your brother in his band, did your brother play a part in your musical journey?
Oh yeah. I mean, he production wise, like writing music, like on the computer on Logic and producing music, he taught me like most of what I know. And he's a gangster. Like he rips a guitar. He's an amazing producer, amazing musician. So yeah, he around that time too, his story is really cool. Honestly, it would be cool for you to talk to him because he was totally rejected by everyone playing metal, like out in the city we were in. And everyone, including me, honestly, I hate to say it, but I was kind of like, dude, you'll never be in a metal band. Like, what are you doing? Like, this is dumb, blah, blah, blah. And maybe not that mean, but everyone was just rolling their eyes at him. And he had the swoop and the skinny jeans. Well, dude, he ends up getting in a band just from posting a cover on Facebook, and they got signed, record deal, top 10 Billboard album, and he went and toured the world and ripped it rock star mode. So eventually he brought me, and I would go do photo and video with them, and I drum teched and took care of the drummer and stuff like that. So I got to do that whole thing. So he's mentored me. He taught me how to play guitar. He's been a huge influence, like in my music life and my music journey. He taught me so much what I know. He got me my first studio monitors to like actually produce music, and been a massive influence. And still to this day, he mixes and masters my songs. Like I talk to him all the time. I play drums in his band, his new band. So we're super tight and huge influence for sure.
Is he still in LA or?
Yeah, he's in LA. So I was living with him before I left.
Yeah, okay. Can you tell us the band he was in and that went
it was
huge?
A band called Crown the Empire. So it didn't go like mega huge, but they did really well. Like, and especially in that metal, it's like post-hardcore metal rock music kind of world. And they're still going, but when they got signed, they had like 2 albums and just went, crazy, and they just got a lot of sales and hit Billboard. So nice. So
has he been able to live off that money or?
No. He still gets checks from it, but he didn't get an insane amount of royalties, and that older music, I mean, he was getting money for a while. It was pretty good money, but that older music now generates significantly less money than,
Sure.
It just kind of tapers off. But he was definitely getting checks for a while from that. But it's like most things, streaming and stuff like that, it's not as much as you think. And when it was like 7 dudes in the band, and when you're signed, like they take a lot of the money, the band was making bank, but it's like the members weren't getting that much at the time, at least. So,
and is that typical in the music industry?
Not these days. I feel like for record deals, maybe, but these days a lot of artists are independent and just get all the money. So, it just depends. I feel like there's really everything these days. So you get artists that are getting just totally gouged and taken advantage of, and then you have independent artists that are making. Like, dude, some of the independent rappers and stuff I've seen are making $200,000 a month, like on their stuff, because they own everything. So when they tour, when they sell music, everything, they get all the money. So
nice.
Yeah, just depends.
So with you in school, then, how did you mentioned before you did online learning?
Yeah. So in one way, like as far as leading your own way, school was a big thing. I was always like in school, like trying to be weird or like do something different, but I had a moment in 8th grade, and I was good at school. I was popular. I got good grades. It wasn't that hard, but I had a moment in 8th grade where it was like a freaking lightning, bro. And I was just like, this isn't right for me. Like, I'm not supposed to be here. Like, this isn't right for my mind. I have other things I want to do. It's just not right. I just knew it wasn't right. And I'd kind of had this growing dissatisfaction with what I was doing in school and everything. But I went home. So it's not like it was completely out of the blue, but in my head, my decision, like I was like, I'm done. Like, I'm not coming back here. So I went home and I told my parents and my mom, and I was just like, hey, I'm not going back to school. So you could try to send me back. I'll leave. I'm gonna, like, you have to tie me in there. Like, I'm gonna leave. And
wow.
So for my parents, that was way out of pocket for me. I would never be like that. So my parents, I think, were like, oh, holy crap, like something's wrong, So my mom was like, yo, can you try online school? Would you be willing? And I was like, yeah. And so I was like, I'll totally try it. So we went that Monday and we went to the place where the school district that had an online program. I got my books. I got enrolled. I went back to my other school, got signed out of all my classes, dipped. Said goodbye to my friends, dipped out. And then I did my own school. That was in 8th grade. And then I just did it online for 2 years, or not even. Well, no, yeah, 2 years and some. So my sophomore year of high school, I got like 3 weeks in, and then I just fully dropped out and got my GED.
So you're like 12, 13?
So I don't know. No, when I dropped out, I think I was 16.
Oh, 16.
So I was about starting my halfway into high school, basically, I think. But man, the online learning for me, amazing, because I was so free. So I remember sitting in science class and I'd be like, this is review for me. I was like, I know the cell parts. I've done the cells before. And I'm just sitting there every day. And I like science, but I was like, I'm wasting my time in here. What am I doing? So once I got to do online school, it was a similar thing where I knew a lot of stuff. It was really easy. So I told my teacher, I was like, hey, can I just take the quizzes? And if I get a pass, be done. And she's like, yeah. So I just all through my science. And then like math was harder for me. So I would take more time with math, but I would just do one subject at a time, right? So it's math all day, every day till I'm done with math. And then I go to history. And for me, that was a way better way to learn than the other way, right? And some kids, maybe it's good to switch it up and have the public school. Everyone's different. But for me, it was just a game changer. And then eventually I just, dipped out because I was in a band at the time and we got a record deal, which I ended up not signing, but I was already making money from my photography and I was so passionate about the videos and the art I was doing and the music that my parents just were like, I was like, I'm done, I'm dropping out. And my brother had dropped out too to do his band, so they're like, just go. So they just let me run it.
Why didn't you sign that deal then?
So my brother and there was a dude with that band Crown the Empire that was like kind of the dude behind the band. So he did a lot of the branding. He wrote a lot of the music. He was responsible for a lot of their success initially. And he and my brother were looking at the deal, and it was for the same record label that my brother was on, right? And they're looking at it and they're like, this is bad. Like, don't do it. And the band I was in really wanted to sign it. You know, it's their dream. They're like, this label is like the label and like, we got to do it. And it was weird because for me, I don't even remember really having a hard decision. I was like, I just trusted them and just didn't sign it. And so that was that with that band. And then I just went on tour with Ben and did the photography with them and drum tech and stuff. So it was just a bad deal, I think.
Oh, so looking back, you don't regret that decision then?
It's hard to say. You never know what would have happened. I think, honestly, I feel like I could have made it work. I feel like we had some momentum. Really good artists. I was really good friends with the band. They've changed their names a couple times, but they're still a band going in Spokane. They're called Paloma now, but, and still friends with them. You know, I love those guys, but I don't know what would have happened. It could have crashed and burned. It could have went mega. I don't know. It's hard to say, but I still feel confident. I'm happy where I'm at. So I wouldn't say I regret it.
You're right though. It sounds like you were never meant to be in a box growing up, right?
Dude, it's so funny you say that. On my YouTube channel, it's private now, but I went back the other day and I had these videos I made when I was like, I don't know how old I was. I was probably like 13 or like I was a kid. And it's so funny because I'm like, my hair's all messed up and you could tell I'm like sleepy because because of how hyperactive my brain is, I'll be laying in bed at night. I call it tornado brain, but I'm just like overthinking like, and it's sometimes bad, sometimes about something good, but my brain just goes max RPMs, right? And so when I was younger, I would be in that state and then I would wake up and I would film myself talking about get it out, right? Whatever it was. And my first video was called The Box. And it was literally about that. It was about like, life will try to put you in this predetermined box and say you have to do these things, but you actually don't. And I was like a kid, but I was like expressing this need to like to freestyle it and trying to share with people, hey, like you can be your own person and do your own thing. And it was like very primitive and fundamental, but that idea has been in me since I was like a freaking child. And it's just funny you say that because, you know, that was like my first YouTube video and that's my Wonderneath channel. Like if you go back to the first video, it's that video. It's
love that.
Yeah.
That's great. I'm glad I said that. That wasn't even part of my notes.
Nice. Freestyled it.
So I remember when you said last time that when you left the band and you and your brother started your own band, didn't you? But was there a moment in that journey there that did something go wrong? Did something go really bad?
No, he left his band just for creative differences. He just wanted to write different kinds of music. They didn't like it, and so he was like, "Well, okay, I'm gonna bail." So it was fine.
Okay.
And then, and then when we did our own band, it was. I mean, we would fight a lot, honestly. Like it was, we had some rough patches for sure, but we're great now.
I'm probably cross-referencing it with it because I remember there was a moment that you did. Well, was there ever a time that you suffered with, I suppose, more severe mental health?
Oh yeah. Okay, I get what you're saying. So not a hard time with the band, but a hard time with myself. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Because you were left because you left LA, didn't you?
Yeah. So, yep. So when
I thought it was with the band. Sorry.
No. So okay. So when my brother quit the band, we started our band in LA, and then eventually basically went back to Spokane because we just couldn't afford to live in LA anymore. We couldn't afford to do the band because everything was so expensive. So yeah, that stint of me being at home was definitely the darkest time in my life for sure. And there was so many components to it, which we can get into. But I was suicidal multiple times during probably a 2-year period. I have these crazy journal entries where I'm talking about being suicidal, and I published them on my blog talking about mental health and stuff like that because it's just interesting for me to see those times. But yeah, man, luckily I don't know how close I ever really got to actually killing myself. It's hard to say because it was almost like a bipolar thing. So I would be okay, and then I would just go down these rabbit holes where there would be a day or two where I'm just so wanting to just get out of my skin. I just want to be gone, right? I just can't. It's just so much mental anguish and pain, and I don't know why exactly. There was never a specific reason why I'm depressed or anything that happened. I was just depressed, and I just felt this intense frantic feeling of needing to escape. And so I don't know how close that ever got to being just completely unbearable and me actually ending it. Kind of close, but luckily,
how kind of close?
I never made an attempt. I definitely was contemplating how I could do it, right? So I'm I was should I fake ODing so my family doesn't know that I killed myself? And how, what would it be like? Do I want to deal with the thought of them having to deal with that? And if they find me, and just those things, I was definitely thinking about and trying to map out how that might go and what I might do. But I never made an attempt. And interestingly enough, I actually went to the doctor to try to maybe get pills, right? Where I was okay, maybe I could get some pills to OD on, but I ended up getting so funny. I ended up just getting referred to therapy, which I went to, which helped a lot. And 100%. So I ended up going to therapy, and I still had even maybe a year after I started going to therapy, I still went down in the dumps and got, in a dark place after that. But I learned a lot about myself. I got so many tools for dealing with those times through that. And eventually just learned enough about my mind, my body, and got enough tools to deal with the way my mind and body works and my life circumstances, and learned how things affect me to basically build a framework and a lifestyle and an understanding of myself that allows me to just keep that type of stuff away, those bad feelings and those negative mental states away enough. And sometimes I could feel them coming back. I'll be laying in bed sometimes, and I'll be I can feel this dark thing, that's just creeping in. I'm I know what that is, and I'm and so I'm at this point, a veteran of fighting that stuff away, and it just has been away for years now, luckily.
I mean, that's great. I mean, you're still pretty young. You're 28 years old. You're 28, right?
Yep.
Yeah, you're 28 years old, and you've realised that at such a young age, because I think it took me till I was 37 to start thinking half to what you think. So I think you're on a good trajectory there somehow.
Yeah.
Outside of that, then, have you've made a very clear picture of how healthy you are. Have you ever been unhealthy outside of the mind?
Oh yeah. I mean, I've always been pretty fit, you could say. So I've never been overweight or anything like that. But there's definitely been times I've done a lot of drugs, and there's when I was on tour, it was sex, drugs, and rock and roll to the max. Like, it was just party mode, right? And so there were tours where I would drink every day. I would smoking cigs, doing coke, like just freaking savage, right? Not sleeping, partying every day, just running at 100% and just ripping it.
Join us tomorrow to hear more from today's incredible guests and learn valuable insights to help you lead your own way. Don't forget to subscribe. We'll see you then.